Hello everybody, it's Betz Golden. I am coming at you today with lots of fun stuff. I'm going to make a card, a shaker card, and I'm going to be using the iCraft Deco foil. I'm going to be doing two different techniques. One is going to be involving this adhesive pin, and then the other is going to be using this foam adhesive. So the Deco foil, a lot of their adhesives require heat to set it. And I have over here heating up a laminator. I don't have the Heidi Swaps Minx. I think I got this for 25 bucks with a coupon at Joann's. But the cool thing is with this foam adhesive, you don't need heat. So we're going to do something fun with that. But before we get started, I do want to start on the embellishments for this card. I need the stamp, this stamp. I'm going to need my Deco foil, and I'm going to need my pin as well as cardstock. I already made one right here, and what I did was I stamped the image in Marsala ink, which, by the way, I think is my favorite fall ink right now. I love this color, it's beautiful. And then I just kind of drew in some veins with the Deco foil, and then, or with the Deco foil pin, the adhesive pin, and then I ran it through the laminator, and I'm going to show you how to do that with this next one. So I've already gone ahead for the sake of time and stamped this image right here of this flower, which is from this set. And I'll have, actually it's upside down, sorry. It's from this set, and I'm going to be using the Thankful for You as well. So we're going to start with this. I've already stamped it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make some little veins in it. I don't want it to be real precise. This is really great for like writing a sentiment. And the lines on it are going to be a little bit thick, so I'm not going to get into really any kind of details. This is just to give it a little bit of extra copper color, some extra metallic. I need to wait for that to dry for about 30 seconds. So as that dries, let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to assemble the card, because I do want it to be a shaker card. So what I went ahead and did was I found this beautiful piece of cardstock that it matches really nicely with this Marsala in my stash. And I went ahead and I measured it down to a 5.75 inch base. Well, it's like 11.5 inches by 5.75, and I folded it. Then I had self-adhesive cork that I cut out, and I put a hole in it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And we're just going to layer that right on top like this. So this is the cork, and this is also going to serve as that extra dimension for my shaker pieces I'm going to put in. Then I took this background stamp, and you're going to get a better image of it in a minute. This one right here, it's the Pine and Berry. And I stamped it with my Marsala color again, like this. I took a circle cutter and I cut the circle, and then I placed this piece over the cardstock and I cut the circle in again. But I pulled away, it's so beautiful about cork, I pulled away really easily that cork so that it can have an opening. And we're going to go ahead and make our shaker card right out of that. And I measured down a piece of acetate. Basically, this measures 5.75, so it's going to fit in a 6-inch envelope. This measures 5.5, and this measures 5.25. So I just went down in that manner, and I think this is like 5 inches. So let's go ahead and just assemble this really quick and get our shaker aspect going. So I just take off the back of this adhesive. You can find cork that's not adhesive in your Joann's store or any kind of craft store, and you can cut it down. I believe this one was by Kaiser Craft. And I like the adhesiveness because it did show it was a bit more sturdy when I put it, when I had to cut it out with my circle cutter. Okay, so here's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this up, and I'm going to fill this up with some cute little punches that I made out of the extra bits and pieces I had from scrap paper. I just punched it all out. I did some craft, I did some sparkle paper in a red and an orange, so we're going to put those in. And since this is a bit thinner than the average shaker card, we don't want to put too much in. And then I also need to add some bling, so I'm going to be using the ginger bottle cap sequin. And I'm just going to put a little bit of these in here. Good. And then I'm going to use this scarlet. I love the scarlet because one side is red and one side is gold. So awesome. And depending on how you look at this, these will all be different. Like, it'll be different colors. It's really cool. All right, that's going to be enough, believe it or not. I'm going to go ahead and take my acetate and put that on top, but in order to adhere the acetate, I'm going to use my Brutus Monroe craft glue because I can kind of move it around a little bit if needed, and it dries clear and it shouldn't really show through. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this down. Okay. Go ahead and just, oops, and I got something black right there that I don't want. There. All right, so that's going to be there. And then on top of that, I'm going to glue down this final piece. Now, we're going to do something around the edge of this that's kind of special. Also, with that foam. But I need to let this set just a little bit before I start to maneuver it, because the last thing I want to have happen is for these pieces to get stuck on the glue. So I need to give it a few minutes to set up. And I have no rhyme or reason to how I am getting that set right there, how I'm applying my glue. And again, I can kind of slide it around if I needed to. All right. Excuse my sniffling. I have a little bit of a cold that I'm overcoming. Okay, so we're going to leave this here for just a few minutes to kind of let it set up while we go ahead and finish up our beautiful leaf. So what we need to do, this is the hardest part of this whole process, is remembering what side to put down on your adhesive. And you want to place it so that the shiny side is up towards you. It says to run it through with parchment paper, but I've just been using a sheet of copier paper and it works great. In my laminator, I tried to use some cardstock and it was just too heavy duty and it didn't heat up well enough. So I used the pot copy paper. You want to put this down with the seam side into the laminator first. And it's supposed to be at 5 ml. And if you have to run it through again, you can. Yep, it sure did. All right, so you can keep that. That would be really cool as a reverse effect. I always like to keep the little scraps. And then here's my beautiful leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off my machine. And we're going to go ahead and just cut this leaf out. All right, so here's our leaf. that I just used that pin on. And just a tip, when you first get the Deco foil pin, it may seem as though it's dry, the nib is dry. All you have to do is you just take your pin and you press it down for about 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds, if it's still not wet, you might want to gently start to twirl it and lift it up a little bit so there's still pressure on that nib. That's how I got mine to start working, and it's been great. It also comes with an extra nib, which is really awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set these aside and we're going to work on, I want to bling this up a little bit around the edge of this. I want to put a blingy circle. So we're going to go ahead and use this foam adhesive Deco foil, for Deco foil. And basically what I did was I cut this piece out. It's two-sided, so I'm going to be removing one side and putting it down just like I did on the Deco foil. But to make it extra special, I'm going to run it through a laminator and give it some texture. How I got that circle was I just took 2 of these circle cutters and I carefully laid them on a piece of the foam like so, and I sent it through my Cuttlebug and it cut beautifully. So that's awesome. I was kind of concerned it would be too thick, but this foam really is not that thick. We're going to actually emboss this, and I'm going to use my Cuttlebug to do so. And I'm going to be taking this first and getting the foil on it. And how I do that is, once again, I need this to go on the sticky side. And there's 2 sticky sides, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Now, I'm going to kind of cheat on this, okay? I like there to be wrinkles and such because it gives it a texture that kind of reminds me of leather in a way. I think that's what it does for me. It kind of reminds me of leather. So I'm going to actually go ahead and place this down, and then we're going to emboss it. And the package says that if it does not all adhere, you can go ahead and use some, like an iron on it. I haven't had to do that yet. It's all been just fine. So once again, really cool reverse. Don't throw that away because you can use it. But look at that. It's like really, I love the wrinkles. I did it. I roughed it up a little bit as I did it. I wasn't so gentle because I really love that texture on it. I think it's so cool. So now we're going to go ahead and just give this a little bit something extra to push it over the top. I'm using a embossing folder. And when you use an embossing folder and you're using your Cuttlebug, you're going to do 2 B plates because they're thin. You only use the C plate when you are die cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this through. See what we get. And look at that. That's so cool. I love it. So this foil is not as fragile as you would think. It really holds up really nicely. So this is going to go just right here. Kind of highlight that center. So I'm just going to take off the back. I love this self-adhesive stuff. Oh my gosh, I don't have to worry about adhering it or anything. It's all there for me. So that's nice. Now, something that I did notice is these do stretch. This foam does stretch. So you want to make sure that you get your placement on pretty good. So there, that's down. Now we're going to go ahead and let's just doctor this card on up. And I want to put down the blingy one first, because that's a lot of bling, and I just am concerned that I don't think I'd like it. I want the orange, I think, on the top. So let's go ahead and adhere this like so. And then I'm going to put right on top of there, I am going to put a little tag. What I did was I took a piece of white cardstock. Once again, I used my little die cuts, my die cut tags. I cut this small one out right here. Then what I did was I took some Marsala again. I smooshed it on my craft mat. I spritzed it with water and I drug the tag through. Once it was dry, I stamped it with this image in Marsala again, and then I inked the edges. And I am left with is this tag. See how that turned out? That's all I did, was I just did a kind of a smoosh, squitch, I can't even talk, smoosh, spray, pull through, dry it, ink the sentiment, and there we go. And so that's going to go over here like so. All right, but before I do that, let me go ahead and put a little bit of a cord through here, make a little bow. I'm going to go ahead and use my craft glue once again and get them set down. Foam squares from iCraft for this, and I really would just get away with one, but we'll go ahead and just put 2 down. And then there's that. And to finish it off, I do want to go ahead and use some of these crystal drops. This is a copper, I believe. It's copper penny. So I thought this would be really pretty with this too. And there we go. That's a beautiful fall card, little shaker card made with the Brutus Monroe stamps and some deco foil by iCraft. Make sure you check out the Brutus Monroe information, their pages and their website. They're doing a whole thing this week with deco foil and the fall and Halloween. And come back and see me, because I'm going to have a lot more things that I'm going to show you and demo and do some more tutorials and fun stuff. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Feel free to share this, and check out my blog, scrappycafe.com, as well. And you can find me on Instagram as Betz Golden. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.